Your DNA is for sale. On March 23, 2025, 23andMe filed for bankruptcy, turning your most personal data into an asset. Who gets to buy it? The answer will surprise you. This is how it collapsed. One company, one fatal decision, one autopsy. Once valued at $6 billion, now it's worth under $50 million. This is a privacy crisis, not just a business failure. But how did a genetic giant fall so far? Why did a $6 billion company collapse? Because in 2021, 23andMe went public with a one-time purchase model, a ticking time bomb that would eventually explode. The company never turned a profit. By 2024, valuation collapsed to 2% of its peak. The chart shows a steep decline that mirrors its broken business model. As one analyst said, you buy the kit, get results, then nothing. No recurring value, no reason to return. That's the core problem. What happens after you spit in the tube? The kit arrives, you spit, mail it, get results. And then? Nothing. No follow-up, no subscription, no reason to ever come back. How can a company survive when customers pay once? It can't. Revenue dried up after the initial wave, leaving no steady income to sustain operations. The chart shows a steep decline, from $6 billion in 2021 to under $50 million by 2024. Never profitable. This decline was inevitable. They cut 40% of staff. The founder's buyout was rejected. Losses mounted, a death spiral that seemed unstoppable. What could make a crisis worse? In October 2023, hackers accessed data of nearly 7 million users, including genetic data. The crisis deepened. This wasn't just emails and passwords, it was the blueprint of a person's biology, a betrayal of trust that sent users running. What happens when trust evaporates? A $30 million settlement, a mass exodus of users. Trust gone. The damage was done and the company's fate was sealed. What happens to your DNA when a company dies? On March 23, 2025, 23andMe filed for Chapter 11. Its assets, including your DNA, were up for auction. The bidding war began. Two bids, Regeneron at $256 million, Wojcicki at $305 million. A bidding war over your data, with the founder ultimately winning. Wojcicki's bid won. The founder now owns the genetic blueprints of millions. Who holds the keys to your identity? She does. What becomes of the data? For millions, it's unsettling. Your genetic information is now an asset in a new portfolio, with legal protections unclear. The deadline to file claims is July 14, 2025. But filing a claim isn't deleting your data. Once sequenced, it's in databases beyond your control. But here's the catch. Your DNA isn't just a record of your health. It's a goldmine for research, drug development, and personalized medicine. Pharmaceutical companies pay billions for access to genetic databases, and 23andMe's trove was one of the largest in existence. The fine print in 23andMe's consent forms allowed them to share your data with research partners. Many users never read the terms, and now they're facing the consequences. 23andMe wasn't just selling kits, it was building a massive research database. By 2024, they had over 15 million customers, and their genetic data was fueling studies on diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. This was the real value, not the kits themselves. So the business model wasn't just flawed, it was backwards. They sold a cheap kit to collect expensive data, then struggled to monetize it. The data was worth billions, but they couldn't turn it into profit fast enough before the money ran out. Here's the paradox: the more valuable your genetic data, the more vulnerable you are. While 23andMe struggled financially, the data itself was a treasure. That's why Regeneron and others were willing to bid millions. They wanted access to that genetic goldmine. Regeneron is a pharmaceutical giant. They'd likely use your data to develop drugs. That might sound good, but it means your genetic information could be used in ways you never agreed to, without your consent. Wojcicki claimed she fought to protect user privacy, but critics say she wanted to preserve her legacy and the data's potential. Either way, the outcome leaves millions in an uncertain position. The legal framework for genetic data is still in its infancy. There's no clear law saying who owns your DNA once it's in a company's database. This bankruptcy auction is setting a precedent that could affect everyone who's ever taken a DNA test. Now, with TTAM in control, the data's future is uncertain. Will they keep it secure? Will they share it with researchers? No one knows. The lack of transparency is exactly what makes this situation so dangerous. Under current laws, you can request your data be deleted, but that only applies to the company's active database. Once it's been shared with partners or sold, it's out of your hands. The genie is out of the bottle. This isn't just about 23andMe. It's a warning for the entire genetic testing industry. If one company can go bankrupt and sell your data, what's stopping others? The risks are systemic and the protections are woefully inadequate. Imagine the day you first took the test. You were curious about your ancestry, maybe health risks. You spat in a tube, sealed it, and sent it off. That simple act set a chain of events in motion that you never anticipated. Your genetic data became part of a database, a commercial asset that would later be sold to the highest bidder. Buried in the fine print was permission to share your data with research partners. Most people never clicked "read more." They just wanted their results. That oversight turned a personal choice into a corporate asset, one that could be transferred without your knowledge. For pharmaceutical companies, your DNA is priceless. They need vast genetic databases to develop new drugs. 23andMe had over 15 million customers, making it a goldmine for research. That's why Regeneron was willing to bid $256 million. They weren't buying tubes, they were buying biological insight. This bankruptcy sets a precedent. If a company can sell your genetic data in an auction, what stops others from doing the same? The legal system hasn't caught up. This case could shape all future data bankruptcies. Check privacy settings, delete your data, think twice before sharing. Once it's out there, it may never come back. So before you spit in that tube, remember, your DNA could end up for sale. Quick note, this is for education only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Nobody thinks they're the next collapse. Subscribe and see how it happens in How Blockbuster Lost Everything.